If you're a creative in any capacity, you're probably familiar with this concept of your voice, the specific quality that makes your work what it is, that makes what you create stand out as distinctly yours. Well, there's this other aspect to your voice that is not just how you create or what you sound like. There's a deeper reality to this idea of the voice. And this voice is so much more about who you are in this lifetime, what you're meant to do, and the energy that you so naturally emanate in this world. I call this voice your earth-given voice. And when we tap into this voice, so much profound healing can happen for us. I'm Asia Suler, author, teacher, earth intuitive, and the founder of One Willow Apothecaries. And this video is a guide to help you connect to your own earth-given voice, to understand what this voice is, why you might have felt disconnected from it, how you know when you're really embodying this voice, what happens when you tap into this voice, and some exercises to help you really start reconnecting to this voice that is distinctly yours. So first, let's ground in this concept of an earth-given voice. Every being on earth has their own voice, their own quality, their own energy signature, their own vibration or resonance that they bring to a particular landscape and a particular place. And you do too. The way I described the earth-given voice often goes like this. So we come into this planet with our spirit, right? And our spirit has its own particular personality, energy, and identity. And this spirit is channeled through this bit of earth we call our bodies in this lifetime. And it's a bit like a flute, right? So your spirit is the breath that is moving through the flute of your body. And as it moves through, there's a particular tone, there's a particular energy that comes out. Now, why is this earth given? Because it's this combination of your own unique spirit coming through in this body, this lifetime, with all of the experiences here and all the gifts that you were meant to bring through this particular configuration that you were born into. Your body is of the earth, made from the earth, a part of the earth. And if we look around at any given ecology, we see that every being in that place has a role to play, has a voice in the overall chorus that makes up the song of that place. And you have a voice in that too. And so often I see when we connect to our voices, we sort of miss the interplay between these two things, between our spirit and also our earthly body, our earthly selves, like the people we came to be here in this lifetime. And what I have found is that the earth has invited us to inhabit a particular voice. And this voice is not alien to us. In fact, it's the most natural thing. It's what we came here to experience because it's this beautiful combination of who we are in the widest sense and who we've come here to be. And that when we connect to this earth-given voice, we really take up our role as those who are meant to bring shifts of healing to this planet. So in this way of thinking, our voice is the vibration, the resonance, the energy that we naturally emanate in this world. It's like a vibrato emanation coming off of us. And when we connect to this voice, so much more becomes clear about who we are and why we're here. But before we get to that, I want to talk a little bit about why we might have felt disconnected from our voices, from our earth-given voice. The biggest reason why we would feel disconnected from our voice is trauma. One of the definitions of trauma that I love is when something happens that violates your trust, that there was trust in that moment, and then something happened, and then you no longer have trust. And what happens in that instance is that there's a freezing that happens inside of our body, like a part of us shuts down. And what literally happens on a physical level, often with any sort of shock or trauma, is that our muscles constrict, our breathing constrict, and very literally one of the signs that a lot of somatic practitioners will look for when there's a trigger or an activation is the squeezing of the throat or muscles working in the throat. So on a very literal level, our voice can get squeezed when there is trauma, shock, dislocation. And now I'm talking about personal trauma, but there's also collective trauma, there's ancestral trauma, there's environmental trauma, right? Like all these different layers are things that can disconnect us from our own innate energy, from the earth-given voice that we are here to embody. On the flip side, how do we know when we are really embodying this voice? Well, here are a few things that I've noticed. Like when I have really connected to my voice, not the voice of what I think it should be, or not the voice of someone I admire, but like my voice, the voice, the energy, the emanation that is supposed to come through me. That is just the most natural thing for me. Well, one, I seem to affect change much more easily. When you're really embodying your voice, I like to say it's like you become a mountain. Like people who are really connected to their earth-given voice can move mountains because they become a kind of mountain themselves. Like this energy of centeredness, groundedness, stability, connection. When I see people out in the world who I know are very connected to their voice, and I know because I can feel it, right? Like their words have power. Even if they're not speaking, their energy has so much presence. And to me, it's like, these are the kind of people who can just like walk into a room and like change ripples out from them. So when you're really embodying your voice, like change tends to happen more easily. You also will feel more heard. And this is true even if you're not trying to express yourself verbally or trying to express yourself through the written word. Just you embodying like the truth of your energy signature, of your earth-given voice, of like the particular quality of song you're here to embody on this planet, you will be heard so much more often. In my experience, when we're really having difficulty being heard again and again and again in the world, it's often because we're not fully connected to this earth-given voice. Now, of course, sometimes we're super connected to our own voice, and that for some reason or another is going to be hard or triggering for people. That does happen. But by and large, when you're really connected to your own voice, you will find the people who deeply care about what you have to say, about what you're here to bring. And it's almost like this energy of the one person that stands up at the town meeting and just is able to say a few words and everyone shifts and orients. That to me is someone who's deeply embodying their earth-given voice. But most of all, you really know that you're connecting to this voice when you feel relaxed inside of yourself. Like I said, this is one of the most natural things. It's like a songbird finally learning how to sing their song. Like it's fulfilling, it's relaxing, it's calming. There's a calm-centered confidence that comes with really knowing and embodying your earth-centered voice. When you are in that voice, like you know who you are, you know what work you're here to do, and you also know what work isn't yours to do. Like when you are aware of your voice, the specific qualities you are here to bring to this planet, that you are here to amplify and emanate, it gets very clear, what your role is and what it is not, which can be really relieving, especially if you are an empath or highly sensitive person, and you tend to get lost in the weeds of thinking that you should respond to every single request of your attention or energy and input. When we are really embodying our earth-given voice, we're super clear on what is ours to do and what is not. So what happens when you tap into this voice, when you really hear the specific quality and tone of how you are meant to be in this world, move through this world? Well, the first thing you could probably guess is trauma resolution. And I like to say even trauma dissolution. So much power comes back online inside of ourselves, inside of our bodies and our capability in this world and our creativity when we just find that voice that is ours, that we are here to use. It's kind of to me, it's almost magic the way in which we can connect to this tone that is us, the tone that is me. And just through connecting to that resonance, like anything else that is not me, including the parts of me that have frozen in other times, somehow a thaw comes, somehow the trauma is resolved, and it's really a magical thing. There's also this sense of homecoming, like coming back to yourself, coming back to your mission in this life, this deep knowing of like, yes, I'm here at the center, and from here anything is possible. You know, like I said, you'll know what your work is and you'll know what it isn't. Like you'll know which notes are yours to sing in the chorus and which notes are actually best left to someone else. And believe me, it's going to be a relief when you realize that and when you know that. And to me, like one of the most profound aspects of really inhabiting your earth-given voice is we can be heard by the natural world in a completely deeper, more profound, more primary, unique kind of way. You know, in the old stories, they say every being on earth had their own voice and their own ability to speak. And this has not changed, but what has changed is humans' ability to hear them and to speak with them. And what I have found is the more that I recognize who I am, why I'm here, the voice that is mine, and use that voice. So like literally my whole being is vibrating with the isness of who I am, which in many ways is our voice, right? The more I do that, the easier it is for me to speak to the other beings in the living world. Like the easier it is for me to really like have a heart-to-heart connection with a tree, or to sit by the creek and receive this download of insight that I so desperately need. It's a really funny but beautiful thing. The more we connect to our own voices, the more we hear the voices in nature around us. And the more we come into alignment with ourselves and the creations that want to move through us. So in order to help you tap into this today, I have a short exercise to do with you. And this exercise will help unblock some of the creative energy. If there's some creative blockages that feel like there's happening, it'll help open and relax your throat and will help you really start to feel this sense of your own voice. Okay, so the exercise is simple, but it's this. Find a humming sound, or if you like to om, you could make an om as well, but any sort of loose humming or om, just something where you really feel that vibration in the back of your throat. And you can start to do it now as I'm talking if you have the space and time, or you could remember this for later. But I want you to keep up humming as I am speaking. And what I want you to do as you're humming is just to start noticing your body. You might have just started humming. And just notice where you're at with that. And as you hum, I just want you to see if there's any shifts in your body. Is there any part of you that feels like you're becoming a little bit more present? Maybe a little bit more relaxed? Maybe your hum or your tone will want to change as you're doing this. You might want to go deeper. Maybe you'll want to go higher. Maybe as you hum, you might feel a melody come through, or maybe not. Maybe you'll just stay exactly where you are. But just imagine you can feel that vibration of that hum, like really start to move out from your neck. Like feel it maybe in your chest. Feel it up in your jaw. Might even help relax your jaw. As it moves down into your chest, you might feel your heart begin to sink into this place of just deeper stillness and relaxation. And it's possible to take this hum all the way up to the top of your head, feeling the space behind your eyes relax. And it's also possible to take it all the way down, maybe feeling your shoulders release and let go. Your arms feel loose. You might even be able to feel this hum all the way down in your pelvis. As you're humming in your throat and really letting that vibration happen, you might also feel your pelvis begin to hum or vibrate or wave with a certain kind of energy. And if you're not feeling that, that's totally fine too. You can just imagine this hum moving all the way throughout your body, maybe even coming out the bottoms of your feet and into the earth. You sending this vibration, this tone all the way down. Now you can keep humming if you'd like. Or if you feel like you've gotten to a good place, you could sort of let your hum gently taper off. And in a moment, I'm going to talk about why we did this exercise and why it's so profoundly helpful. So when we hum, we are stimulating the end of our vagus nerve. Our vagus nerve is this primary nerve that runs all throughout our body, and it is directly connected into our nervous system and our ability to access feelings of safety, centeredness, and calm. And so when we hum, we are vibrating the end of the vagus nerve, and it can spread through our whole body. That's one reason why, even if maybe you didn't feel the vibration, all the way down in your pelvis, you might still feel more relaxed in your pelvis because that vagus nerve reached all the way down into our pelvis. So this is a really beautiful way to start to enter into the state of relaxation, to open up our nervous system, to release some of the trauma patterns of holding or tension. And one thing I invite you to do now that you've hummed is just to say a simple sentence out loud. It could be something like, I am here. And just notice the quality of your voice after you've hummed for those few minutes. I know for me that when I hum, the quality of my voice will often be deeper, wider, more relaxed. And studies show that when we hum, we do in fact relax our vocal cords, we relax the musculature in our neck. It sort of loosens and opens this area. It will also show you often your natural speaking pitch. Sometimes we can go in and out of different pitches depending on our level of activation or discomfort. And when we spend a considerable amount of time humming, we're actually also reconnecting to the pitch of our voice, our natural pitch. So I remember when I was pregnant and I was moving towards the birth, my midwife telling me that humming, vocalizing, making sounds in the throat will be the very thing that helps to open our cervix and open our pelvis. And there is a very specific connection between our throats and our pelvis often being the place where we store emotion in this lifetime. And so when we are humming, we're also letting that release, letting that flow, letting new things birth into the world. Humming can really open up the gateways to our creativity, and it often calms a overactive mind. So if you feel like you're just going down the rabbit hole with your thoughts or feeling anxious, one of the things that I like to do is just go outside and hum or sing for 5 minutes. And often I'll go sit by the creek, and the sound of the running water will just sort of get me into the flow. And then I just start spontaneously humming or singing. If I don't have access to that and I can feel that my stress level is high, sometimes in my car, I will just sing or hum for 5-10 minutes. And I often find that will take my stress level down and will reconnect me to my own natural energy and essence. So humming is one way that we reconnect to our earth-given voice, that we slough off the stress and tension and stories that are causing us to disconnect from who we are, to disconnect from our own innate energy, and to get back into this space of sitting at our center and emanating the energy that we are here to embody. And now your energy is probably going to look different from mine, right? Just like the energy of a pine tree is going to be different than the energy of a maple tree. And this is the beautiful thing about connecting to our earth-given voices, is we start to recognize the specific qualities of energy. we're here to embody, the specific gifts that we're here to bring to this world. And it is a beautiful experience unlike anything else. So if any of this is resonating with you, if you're sitting here and listening to this and humming like a singing bowl as I'm speaking, I would love to see you in my upcoming live class this Thursday called Your Earth-Given Voice. The class is part writing workshop, part healing experience. We're going to be doing it on the summer solstice, so we have all that beautiful solar energy coming to support us in this experience of opening back up our own natural voices, of reconnecting to the hum, the vibration, the resonance that is at the center of us, and starting to really understand our gift in this world. So with that, I want to thank you so much for being here. If you are interested in that class and joining, I will put the link here below. You can join live, or you could also sign up and receive the replay later. So I'll put that link there. And however you're moving into this solstice time of celebration, or however you are moving into this time of reconnecting with your own voice, may you truly find that hum, that resonance, that center song that is yours to sing. And may it fill every aspect of your life with abundance and clarity.